Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. Today we're going to be making a video that I am very excited to talk about, and something that I have wanted to talk about for quite some time. And that is the fact that I have started my Turo business, my Turo experience, whatever you want to call it. This is a side hustle slash, kind of just side thing that people have been talking about a lot over the past couple of years, especially over the pandemic, on like TikTok, YouTube, all over the place. People have been saying how great it is, how much money you can make, how much money they've been making, and how great it's been going, and all that stuff. Especially as the used car market just continued to balloon and balloon and balloon. People were making money just by being able to hold their cars and stuff as well. But a couple months ago in October, I decided to purchase my first ever car with the intent of renting it out on Turo. This wasn't a car that I was going to be daily driving, anything like that. This car was going to be 100% for Turo. It was going to try to get rented out as much as it could. And I was going to see, what my own experience with Turo was. And then if I wanted to, continue to add to my fleet or buy more cars or just drop it all together or whatever. And what you're looking at on the screen is the car that I did purchase for Turo. And in this video, I'm going to be going over, the good, the bad, everything that happened with the car purchase, why I purchased this car, what kind of money or ROI I'm going to be looking to make, or that I think I can make, and just all of that stuff. And then, I do want to continue to document this process going forward into the future. So this car that you are looking at on the screen right now is a 2013 Ford Escape SE with 110,000 miles on it. This car is, if you watch YouTube videos and hear some kind of things that other people have talked about, this car is one of the better cars to purchase with the intent of renting it out on Turo. It is a relatively cheap car, kind of that low-end economy type. Obviously, it's spacious enough, big enough to, be able to have families and things like that, rent it out. It's it's not the ugliest car in the world. It's like kind of cool looking, does decent on gas. It has some cool features like, the touchscreen on the inside. It has, the kind of Bluetooth hooking up your phone for the music, all that stuff. It's got not a ton of bells and whistles, but it has at least the basics. It's at least good enough. Again, cheap enough. I am in the Miami area, so another reason why this was one of the cars that I was looking at is, again, families that are going to be, coming into Miami, coming into the beach. They need room for all their stuff. Also, people making trips to the beach. You have a ton of room. You have a big trunk. You have places to put in, whatever you want, whether it's biking or surfboarding or just going to the beach and you need all your beach gear and a picnic basket or a cooler or whatever, all of that kind of stuff. I do think these, economical SUVs will and can and should do really well in Florida, in the Miami area, around beaches, all that stuff. So I did think that this car was great in a lot of ways, and what we ended up doing was purchasing this car for $6,900. And again, this was in October of 2022. This was when used car prices were definitely beginning to tank. They were not at their peak. They were still probably overvalued and overinflated, but getting started in Turo was something we wanted to do, so we were willing to overpay a little bit, even though it's probably not the best decision in the world, because it meant we'd get to start our Turo business, and it meant that we could start learning and we would start making some money and stuff. But again, this was something we were looking at more of a long-term perspective. Like if we want to be serious about this is something we want to do for years and years and years, or whatever. It might be worth a little short-term risk, and even though maybe we're not buying at the exact bottom of the market or anything like that. So we bought this thing for $6,900 at the time. That was actually a pretty good deal. The KBB on a car like this was, I don't know, around like $7,500, $7,300, $7,200, somewhere in there. I couldn't really remember. Yes, we only got a couple $100 below that, but still we were getting a car in a crazy used car market. We were getting a car for a little bit below the market value. This car was in very great shape. It was taken very good care of by the previous owners. The only things were, some nicks, some dings and stuff on the outside, but overall the car was in very good shape. So we were happy. We were excited. Now, unfortunately, fast forward to today. This is January 2nd of 2023. The used car market has continued to tank. And for a car like this with 110,000 miles on it, 2013 Ford Escape, right now the private party value is $6,100. So this is something that has really fallen off a cliff. It has lost a lot of value in just a couple of months. And obviously that sucks because, we purchased this vehicle, and yes, it's the intent of, cash flowing and renting it out on Turo and making that side money and having the Turo pay the car off and all that stuff. That's great. But still, you are going to end up with the asset at the end of the day. You're still going to have the car. And if the car, gets crashed or anything happens or whatever on Turo, they're going to, base how much money you could potentially get back based on the value of the car. So as the value of the car goes down, that's even lowering the potential of money we're going to be able to get back if something does happen to it or whatever. So this is not great. But on the bright side, hey, as all used cars continue to drop and drop and drop, this is going to allow us to, if we want to potentially be able to buy more used cars for even cheaper. So this is probably the biggest negative so far is just how much the car has dropped in value overall. And you can see here, this is on Car Gurus. Look at the 2013 Ford Escape. Again, like I said, we purchased it around October of 2022. Obviously, this is cars with like less miles and stuff like that, but you can see here the value of a 2013 Ford Escape had dropped from $12,000 all the way down to around $11,000. So it had lost like $1,000 worth of value, and ours has kind of done the same. Like I said, before the mid range was probably like 7,200, 7,300, somewhere around there, and now it's saying 61. So yeah, and I might have the numbers a little bit off for exactly what it was, but again, we at the time we did get it a little bit below value, and now it's looking like we didn't make the best purchase at the time. But again, we knew that was running the risk going in, but this just, is kind of the worst part so far. So, yes, this is a car. We've been renting it out on Turo for the past couple of months. I do plan on, documenting how this process has gone. I do plan on making videos talking about kind of the pros and cons, the good and bad, how everything's been going, how much money we've been making, all that stuff. But in this video, I mostly wanted to lay out the plan. And again, here's the $6,900 that we spent. Miami, obviously a pretty good location for trying something like this out, to be able to rent cars. We get a lot of tourists, we get a lot of families, and also we just have a ton of people who live here in general and might need to rent a car, might need to use a car. And obviously we have that surface available for them. It might be a little bit of an oversaturated market. There definitely is a lot of vehicles listed on Turo here, so that's maybe one of the downsides. But it does really seem like there is a thriving market. It does seem like there's some money to be made here. So at the end of the day, kind of looking around, I think it is very, very possible that we make $35 per day renting this car out. If we start to look at some of the numbers of how this could potentially break down, you can start to see that, like, hey, $30 per day times 30 days in a month, obviously, could be something like $1,050 per month in revenue. Now, obviously, you still need to take out things like insurance and any other costs that are just going to kind of come up over the course of things. And of course, the other thing being, you are not going to rent it out all 30 days of the month. I think some normal utilization is going to be something like, let's say worst case scenario would be like 70% utilization. You get something rented out like 70% of the days of the month, which is not impossible, especially when you're first starting out. You're not going to be an all-star host. You're not going to have tons of good feedback, tons of good ratings. You're probably still going to be learning a lot of things. You might not be showing high up in the searches. You might have to lower your prices and stuff to get popped up, more and more stuff like that. So, let's see what we could be looking at if we even rented this thing out 70% of the days a month, which again is not very good. And that's definitely not what you're going for. But we'd be looking at about $735 per worth of total revenue there. And that's, of course, before Turo takes out their cut. And we are on the 80% plan on Turo. So we can, even take this number. I need to move the parentheses around and stuff, but we can even take this number and multiply this by the 0.8. So we can get an idea of how much we would be looking at. $588 per month. This is, again, in one of the worst case scenarios. So if we are able to rent it out 70% of the days of the month for $35 per day. Really what we're going to be shooting for, especially early on, is going to be 80% of the days. I think 80% utilization would be really, really good. And there we'd be looking at about $672 per month in, again, revenue. That's before insurance, other things like that are taken out. But really, best case scenario, once you get up to all-star host, once you really get rocking and rolling, you want to get as close as possible to that like 90% utilization. And then again, I do think that the ability to get into the, making $750 per month off this vehicle. I do think that that is very, very possible. Now, say we take out $100 for insurance, say we take out, a little bit of extra money, say, I don't know, $50 per month, and kind of just other expenses and other things that are going to pop up. Obviously, you need to set aside some money for like repairs and stuff like that too, random things that are going to come up. And you still need to buy a bunch of stuff for the Turo. Like, we purchased a spare key, we purchased a lock box, so we're able to do remote deliveries and pick up and drop off. We just spent like time going to purchase a vehicle. We spent gas driving to buy the vehicle and coming back. Just, random expenses you're going to occur. Let's say we could ultimately make $600 a month in profit. This is in, the one of the better case scenarios. Of course, $600 per month in profit. This is if we're able to get 90% utilization. But let's even use maybe the more realistic, that we get 80%. We take 150 off that. We call it like 550. Let's call it 550 per month. I think is a very, very reasonable amount that we could make. Obviously, if we look at something like 550 times 12 months in the year, we could be looking at potentially, if all things go well, we avoid, some of the big headaches, the big disasters, the big roadblocks and stuff. We could be looking at something like $6,600 in total revenue per year for a car like this, which again, we spent $6,900, and we're also losing some money on the overall value of the car. But this is just in the first year. And if this car keeps running smoothly, this thing can continue to do this for years and years and years. This car could potentially pay itself off in just this first year. And this is what we're hoping for. This is something we're aiming for, shooting for. This is the goal. And again, if all else goes well, we could potentially continue to not only just take that $6,600 and put it aside, but we can use that $6,600 to buy a second car and then have two Turo cars doing their thing and going and going and going. And I just definitely see how this business could, start to really blossom and scale and spiral into something very, very crazy. But we are getting started on the Turo journey. Again, this is the 2013 Ford Escape SE that we did purchase after looking around. How we purchased this vehicle was just simply, going on Facebook Marketplace, looking around. We did have to message a lot of people. Again, it was in the middle of a crazy used car market where used cars, especially somewhat affordable used cars and somewhat decent used cars, were definitely very, very hard to come by. But we just scoured Facebook Marketplace. We sent a lot of messages. We met up with a couple different people. We test drove some vehicles. We checked them all out. Again, this one was very, very clean, in very, very good condition. No issues, no check engine light. The only thing that did happen was this vehicle had a recall on it, and you can't Turo any car that has an active recall on it that has not been addressed or identified or whatever. So we did have to get that fixed, and then we finally got it up and going. So we purchased this vehicle in October. We started Turo in November. We've now been doing Turo for a couple of months. And again, so far, things have not gone perfectly, but they have been going overall, I would say, pretty well. This is something I'm very, very excited about for 2023. I'm very, very excited to continue documenting this process, making videos for you guys, answering questions, showing, the highs and lows of our entire experience. I think it's going to be very fun. I think it's going to be very exciting. But so far, we now have our Turo fleet of one car. This 2013 Ford Escape SE, 110,000 miles, purchased for $6,900. We're hoping to have it pay itself off in around, 13 to 14 months. But even if it took anywhere between 12 and 18 months, I still think that would be a very, very successful purchase. We'll have to see how this goes, but hey, this is where you guys are going to, stay up to date on all the latest and everything we have going on. And yeah, maybe you even want to consider purchasing your own vehicle or renting out a car you already have on Turo, because I know it can be a very, very fun and exciting process. And I can't wait to make more videos about it throughout all of 2023. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it. I would appreciate it so much if you dropped a like on it. Hopefully I catch you in the next one. But until then, peace.